Welcome, everyone. Let's begin our lesson for today by going over the learning goals and success criteria. First, what are we learning? We're learning how to find the volume of cones, cylinders, and spheres. How are we learning it? Through the finding the volume of cones, cylinders, and spheres notes and the finding the volume of cones, cylinders, and spheres assignment. When can we use this information? To determine the amount of liquid a container can hold. How do you know you learned it? By getting a score of 4 on the finding the volume of cones, cylinders, and spheres assignment. Now let's take a look at our agenda for today. We will begin by going over the learning goals and success criteria. While we do that, you'll fill out your Get It Started. Once you've completed your Get It Started, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. After that, we'll go over the finding the volume of cones, cylinders, and spheres notes, and then I'll give you time to complete the finding the volume of cones, cylinders, and spheres assignment. Once you've completed the assignment, we'll go over it together and answer any questions that you may have. At the end of class, we'll go back over our learning goals and success criteria while you fill out your Before You Go. Your only homework for tonight is to continue working on the Geometric Modeling Study Guide and any incomplete assignments that you may have. Let's take a look now at the finding the volume of cones, cylinders, and spheres notes. The notes begin with the learning goals and success criteria. So first of all, what is volume? Volume is the amount of space a three-dimensional figure occupies. So area was a flat object. Now a volume represents something that contains flat area and then is also raised up, so actually has height as well. So volume can also be looked at as the amount of space available inside of a container. For instance, we have a box here, and notice it has a flat area on the bottom, but then it's also lifted up and raised up as well. Here's some formulas for volume. So the volume of a cube is length times width times height. The volume of a prism is the area of the base. Notice that's capital B, so that's area of the base times height. The volume of a pyramid is 1/3 the area of the base times the height. The volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared h. The volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. And the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. Now let's take a look at how to find the volume of a cone. Well, remember the formula for the volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared h. Well, we know that r in this case is 2, right? That's the radius of the circle at the bottom. And then the height is 6. So we just plug that in. So this is 1/3 pi times r squared times 6. And when we multiply this out, we get 2 squared is 4 times 6 is 24. And then times 1/3 is 8. So that becomes 8 pi. Again, don't forget your units. So it's in inches. So we'll go ahead and leave it in inches, but it's volume, so it's going to become inches cubed. So this becomes 8 pi inches cubed. Again, always leave pi exactly as it is. Now there's a video here that shows you how you can check your work when finding the volume of a cone using Symbolab. So go ahead and watch that video now. Let's take a look now at how we can use Symbolab to check our work when finding the volume of a cone. So we're going to go to Symbolab, and then we're going to go to the cone volume and radius calculator, and then we're going to click on volume, and then we just have to enter in the radius and the height, and then it will give us what the volume would be. So let's say that our radius here is 3 and our height is 5. So we'll go ahead and click go. And when it scrolls us down, it tells us that the volume is pi r squared h over 3. So when we plug that in, this is 3 squared times 5 times pi over 3. And when we simplify it, we get 15 pi. So the volume of this cone would be 15 pi. So this is how you can use Symbolab to check your work when finding the volume of a cone. Now let's take a look at how to find the volume of a cylinder. Now, the volume of a cylinder is found by using the formula pi r squared h. Well, we know that the r value is 5. So we plug that in for r, and the height is 9. So this becomes pi times 5 squared times 9. Well, 5 squared is 25. Multiply that by 9, and we get 225. So 225 pi would be our answer. Again, don't forget your units. It's in yards, and we're trying to find the volume, so it becomes yards cubed. So this is 225 yards cubed. Now there's a video here for you to watch on how to check your work when finding the volume of a cylinder using Symbolab. So go ahead and watch that video now. Let's take a look now at how we can use Symbolab to check our work when finding the volume of a cylinder. So we'll go to Symbolab, and then we'll find where it says Cylinder, Volume, and Radius Calculator. And then we're going to go here and click on Volume. And now we just have to enter in what's given. So we need the radius and the height. So let's say that our radius here is 4, and our height is 3. So we'll go ahead and click Go. And it tells us that the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. And it plugs in it for us. So the radius was 4 squared times 3, which is the height. And when we multiply it all together, we get 48 pi. So the volume of this cylinder would be 48 pi. And this is how you can use Symbolab to check your work when finding the volume of a cylinder. Now let's take a look at how to find the volume of a sphere. Well, the volume of a sphere is found by using the formula 4/3 pi r cubed. So we know that r in this case is 3, so we're going to plug that in. So this is 4/3 pi times 3 cubed, and then 3 cubed is 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. 27 times 4/3 is 36, so this is 36 pi. Again, we leave pi exactly as it is, and then we include our units. This is in kilometers, so we'll leave it in kilometers. And it's the volume, so it becomes kilometers cubed. So this is 36 pi kilometers cubed. Now there's a video here for you to watch on how to check your work when working with the volume of a sphere using Symbolab. So go ahead and watch that video now. Let's take a look now at how we can use Symbolab to check our work when finding the volume of a sphere. So we're going to go to Symbolab, and then we're going to find where it says Sphere Surface Area Calculator. And then we're going to go here to where it says Volume given a radius. So we're going to click on that. Now the only information we need for this is the radius. So let's say the radius of this sphere is 3. So we type that in and click Go. So it says that the volume of a sphere is 4 pi r cubed over 3. So it plugs in the information for us. And once it's done, it says that our volume should be 36 pi. So the volume of this sphere would be 36 pi. So that's how you can use Symbolab to check your work when finding the volume of a sphere. Let's take a look now at the Finding the Volume of Cones, Cylinders, and Spheres assignment. The assignment begins with the learning goals and success criteria. If we scroll down, we can see the questions. So the first one says, find the volume of this cone. Well, we should remember that the volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared h. So if we take r and square it, so 2 squared is 4, times 7 is 28. And then we need to take 1/3 of that. So 1/3 of 28 is 9.33, which is this one here. Now let's take a look at this one. Now we have a cylinder, which the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. So in this case, we have r is 10. So we're going to take 10 and square it, which is 100. And then multiply it by the height, which is 9. So if we take 100 times 9, we get 900, which is this one here. And then you'll continue to answer these questions all the way until you get to the end of the assignment. Once you get to the end of the assignment, go ahead and click Next. This will take you to your Before You Go. Go ahead and fill out your Before You Go and then submit your work on Google Classroom.